Hello and welcome to today's video. We're looking at the elements of your leadership style. And if you've seen the video before, you know that there's several elements of your leadership style. And today we're looking at the biggest one that you have with you, and that is you. Your preferences, your values, your personality, what you bring to the table. Let's go. So as part of the elements of your leadership style, let me just recap that what you bring to the table, who you are, is just one of the elements, because you will have to be somewhat adaptable to your individual team members who may require something completely different than what your natural personal preference and style is. Your team as a whole brings a dynamic and as a group that you will have to adapt to, or that you will have to learn to guide and channel. And then you have a certain task that you need to deliver with your team, whether you're running an operational department or a project team. And depending on what that task is and what environment, that's the fifth element, what environment you're dealing with or which type of client you're dealing with, you will also have to consider how to best find your personal individual leadership style for this particular circumstance in your current leadership situation. So today we're doing a deep dive into you as the biggest element, so to speak, of your leadership style, your personality, your preferences, what you bring to the table. We want to anchor you ideally in who you are as a person, and own who you are. I see so many, I work with leaders. So I didn't even introduce myself. If we haven't met yet, my name is Angelika. I'm a leadership coach with 15 years of experience running large scale global software rollouts and strategic change management initiatives like turnaround programs and the like. And I'm working with leaders and their teams on transformation projects, but also on their personal transformation and personal growth. And I see so many leaders, especially women in my coaching practice, who are trying to be someone else because at some stage in their careers, someone told them, or it sounded like there's only one way of being a leader. And particularly for women who are growing up into this male-dominated, masculine rule dominated corporate world, we need to learn the rules of the game. So it makes perfect sense to first figure out, like, how does this work and how do I make progress and what's the best way of doing X, Y, Z. The trouble is that sometimes we can get lost on the way in terms of losing ourselves and losing the connection with who we are. And I see a lot of women who are great achievers, but they don't see their own brilliance and they don't dare to own who they are, whether they're passionate or whether they're super accurate and super diligent, because they feel that they have to buy into the message of, that's not working in my organization, I won't be honored, or I cannot really bring my spiritual, emotional, purpose-driven self to this environment, even though that is exactly what fuels them, what sets them apart, and what makes them a great inspirational leader, or what makes them a great person to bring a group together and help that group to develop a cohesion and work forward together towards a goal. So what you bring to the table is the core anchor, should be the core anchor of who you are as a leader and how you act as a leader. And this is not to say just be authentic and ignore the corporate rules. That's not what I'm saying. I just want you to really anchor yourself in who you are and not deny if you're a passionate IT programmer, or if you're a funny and inspirational accountant. You may not want to do creative accounting. I'm not saying that, but bring your personality to the team, to the table, and to work, and also allow yourself to be like that and anchor yourself in that. what you bring to the table in terms of you as a personality and is also your values and your preferences. When I speak of values, let me give you an example. Coming again from this observation that there seems to be just one way of being a leader, one way of being successful, and there's not. I see there's 8 billion ways of being a great leader, and you just have to find yours, right? And we can be a great leader with one team, and we can be totally at a loss with the next team because it requires something different from us, and we're totally outside of our comfort zone because what used to work or what our natural style would be just doesn't get leverage. We just find traction with this particular team or with that particular client. But that's a story for the next one when we're talking about the teams. Let's look at what you bring to the table, apart from your natural strength and personality. You also bring to the table your values. And you can lead very successfully and actually bring your team to the same fantastic result, whether you have the values of, let's do two examples, like a dichotomy, two very different leaders in the same situation. One is leading with the values of quality, diligence, structure, and loyalty. And they will make sure that their team will see the client's requirements. They will make sure that everything is diligently delivered on point in the quality that the client requires to make a good job for their own company and to deliver the result that the client needs and wants. That is one set of values which will lead to success. Let's look at another leader, and they have their core values of freedom, fun, well-being, and they can lead their team to the same success because they will want to make sure that the client feels good, well-being. They will want to make sure that they have the fun on the way, including their team and including their client. And they will want to have the fun of delivering something which is fantastic. So they will, in their everyday operations and interactions with their team, and most likely also with the client, they will have a very different style of handling things. They will probably make a different argument for why they want to make sure that the quality is superb. Because on this side here, where quality and diligence and adherence to rules is like the guiding principle, the argumentation or the reasoning will be like, we need to make sure a lot of surety and safety and quality adherence. And here it will be like, we need to make sure about that because we need to make that client happy. This is what they want. And the interaction with the team, again, will probably be a bit different because there may be more freedom to approach things in a different and alternative way, a creative way, or maybe more consideration for personal time or preferences of whether you like to work early in the morning and the rest of the team works late at night. Whatever it might be individually, there is no difference based on the values to what the result can be. So what I want to bring home is there is no right or wrong set of values that you need to bring in order to be a good leader. You just need to be aware of what your values are. Because as a leader, you will have to make 1 million decisions. Apparently, we're making, 60,000 decisions a day or something? So break that down and divide it by the number of hours you work, so you get a bit of an idea of how many decisions you're making as over the course of a day. And when we talk about decisions, it's not always like these large decision-making proposals. Shall we invest $100 million? Nope. We're talking about like, how do I react to this team member that just knocked on my door and wants to spend 5 minutes and ask me about an advice? Or how do I react to a client who's escalating something? What's the decision for the priorities of the team? All of these are decisions that you will face being a leader, and you're probably already there. So coming back to your values, they will be ideally, a large anchor point for yourself in those moments when you're not quite sure which way to go. How do I do that? You can, of course, you don't need to do value work and dive deeper into what your values are in order to be successful. But I find that being consciously aware of what your values are will help you as a guidepost, so to speak. When you're torn between two directions, coming back to knowing that your anchor point is that you don't want to make rash decisions, because one of your core values is being sure, then you will have an easier time of saying, okay, I need to sleep on that, or give me a moment, I will come back to you, than someone who's more in the, hey, I'm quick, and I want to make pace as a value, who's more into speed with this type of thing. Again, no judgment. Either way can work. The idea is be more consciously aware of what your values are, so that you can use them as an anchor point. I've got an exercise and a download a free download that you can access somewhere. Not sure where I need to point here. I'll link it in the description box so that you can go through an exercise of figuring out and honing down on what your key and core values are. Similar to values, your preferences when it comes to things like letting go or taking control. Like there's certain tensions that we're facing as leaders, and knowing where we fall onto that continuum between like, okay, I really want to have full control for whatever reason. I want to make sure, I need to make sure, which is the case in many roles. And my core, I'm more in the arena of letting go and trusting people and giving them the freedom to, and I want to empower them. Where you fall on that continuum will also help you. If you're closer to the I want to be in control mode, knowing that and acknowledging that will make your life so much easier than if you're constantly torn, thinking, I should actually empower them more, I should let go more, but then I don't like it. Because that will lead to a number of conflicts, because you feel like you should let them go, but then you don't like how things are run, and then you will take things back into your control. So there's conflict pre-programmed, and we don't want that. So let's rather be honest with ourselves and say, okay, if I'm truly honest, I fall closer to the I want to have things under control. Right. Okay. Then let me try and be transparent about this. Let me own it and let me communicate it, so that the team doesn't think that I don't trust them, or that they understand that I need a bit more time until I release more of that control, until I got to know them, whatever the case may be. So I hope that wasn't confusing. So as I said, just to recap, what you bring to the table as one of the major elements of your leadership style is your personality, your character, your, is that your flourish in English? Kind of your style. That is you as a person, whether you like data and analytics, and whether you're driven by numbers and you like to keep a tight ship and you're super structured and super diligent, or whether you're more interested and more kind of in the free fun, let's joke all day, let's have a good mood, let's be passionate and creative arena, or any combination thereof. So that is your personality that you bring to the table, and please own it. Please bring it to the table and don't leave it outside before you enter the office. And then it's your core values. Again, if you want to dive deeper and make them consciously aware to you so that you can consciously use them as an anchor point for your decisions, you can find the free download below. And your preferences, like be honest with yourself where you fall on such continuums as control and freedom and that kind of thing. So in the next one, we're looking at how to develop or adapt your leadership style depending on who you're dealing with, like the people that you're dealing with, your team members individually, and the dynamics of your team. So if you like this kind of content, I'd love for you to come back, like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you bring to the table in terms of your leadership style and whether you find this helpful. Bye.